What would our lives look like if we didn't have to capture everything we do or try to make every moment Instagrammable to be shared with millions of other Instagram users? Imagine for a moment a space without Instagram. There are no overfiltered images of the perfect glass skin, no homes and houses that appear to have been lifted off an interior design and decor magazine, no females and females under the age of 20 showing off just how rich they are. Basically, no space for perfection, vanity, and an impossible level of happiness and winning. How would our lives look in this space? Would you be happier and more content? Would we all be leading authentic lives, where we don't have to compare with whomever, because they've made us feel like we've got nothing going on with our own lives? Think of it all: relationships, work, productivity, travel, mental health. Would we be better off without Instagram? Well, let's talk about the toxic Instagram culture. On October 6, 2010, Instagram was born, and the photo-friendly models and model wannabes finally found their slice of heaven, a fantasy world where they can share overly edited photos and videos to show off their perfect little worlds with the rest of the world. The space soon turned into a competitive ground that has killed dreams and possibly contributed to the high numbers of mental health problems we now face. Over the years, and despite the many recent measures put in place to quell hate, bullying, and the propagation of hurtful messages through the use of certain words or posting of certain explicit videos or photos that may be against community guidelines, Instagram continues to perpetuate and to remind us that social media is one of the most toxic avenues ever created. We're now seeing more Instagram pages and accounts reminding their followers that Instagram is not real, and that whatever is posted is often a heavily edited part of that person's life. It may or may not be real, and also that no one should take what they see on Instagram as the actual representation of people's lives. In real life, relationships, workplaces, homes, kids, trips, meals, etc. are all super messy. That what you see is far from reality. The super fit Instagram model you considered goals has tiger stripes, tummy, and back rolls, and their bum is not that perky in real life. Unfortunately, such well-intended messages don't do much to undo the hurt and damage that Instagram has already caused. So let's talk about toxic Instagram culture, the portrayal of a false sense of reality that is detrimental to its users' mental and physical health. Its effects can turn fatal, since the users glamorize it, and when their expectations are not met, the effects can be quite detrimental to everyone, especially to the younger users. Don't believe us? Why Instagram culture is very toxic. With about 1 billion monthly users and about 500 million people logged into Instagram daily worldwide, we have to talk about Instagram's negative influences. Number 1. Decade-long mental health crisis with long-term effects. Instagram is to blame for the mental health crises of the past decade. In a survey conducted by Child Trends, one of the leading nonprofit research firms in the country, it was found that the rate of attempted suicides in teens went up by 25%, 2009 to 2017, and this rate keeps going up. Something notable is that female teens are affected the most. This is exacerbated by the amount of time teens spend on social media. With it, at least 6,500 teens from a 2019 study show that these teens spend a minimum of 3 hours on the platform every day. It doesn't come as a surprise that Instagram has led to more teens struggling with different mental health problems, like depression, anxiety, poor sleep, and antisocial behavior. The effects social media has on users' mental health is why Selena Gomez mentioned that she's been off her socials for more than 4 years, and that this decision to cut off her life from social media is what's preserved her mental health. Don't let her active social platforms fool you. Her assistant and team run them. More stats on the same show how 40% of male teens and 60% of female teens go through negative social comparison because of Instagram, with a third of the surveyed teen girls noting that Instagram content makes them feel much worse about themselves. You also have 25% of the teens that report not feeling good enough since they got on Instagram. These are just some of the examples of how toxic Instagram can be. Number 2. Curated society. We know that no one is perfect, and no one has it all. But with Instagram users editing their faces and bodies to paint a picture of perfection, the societal portrayal of a fit body becomes this Instagram photo of Kylie Jenner. We start to hate our faces or bodies. Or worse, Individuals looking to look perfect take it upon themselves to do everything possible to look that perfect. And this hardly happens, unfortunately. And we're left with a society of teens and adults struggling with eating disorders, mental problems, body image issues, a very low level of self-esteem, and a lifelong of physical health problems, all because you're either pushing your body too hard or denying it what it needs for sustenance. When it gets to a point where food is seen as an enemy to body goals and not a vital source of fuel for the body to function, we as a society are living on the edge, near the point of no return. Instagram images are digitally airbrushed, creating curated versions of individuals and brands, influencers, distorting our view of what people in the world around us actually look like, making us vulnerable and easily swayed by the latest fads to keep up and look as good as the Joneses. The more advanced the technology on the whole, the more possible it is for a considerable number of human beings to imagine being somebody else. David Reisman, sociologist. Number 3. Positive vibes only. Let's talk about toxic positivity. No one is ever that happy. No one can shut off the world. And the world, as we know it, can be pretty sad and a horrid place. We get sick. People we know die. Our friends hurt us. And we go broke. Nothing is perfect, so it's good to want only the good, but we get a mix of both. Sometimes more happy than sad, other times more sad than happy. That's just the way life is. Number 4. Damaged generation seeking external validation. Can we talk about all the captions and images that share some really deep shit about success, wealth creation, happiness, and productivity? The pages and accounts that find a way to make their followers feel like shit. I mean, things are already hard. And we don't need some weirdo on the internet brandishing harmful comments at us. Unfortunately, even when someone knows that they're doing their best, these posts, dubbed inspirational quotes, tend to be unrealistic and can be toxic. Who said working till you drop is the only way? How isn't rest encouraged and doing what makes you happy is? Even if your definition of happiness is contrarian. The current generation has millions struggling with self-esteem and self-worth, and Instagram isn't doing much to help. And who can blame us? It's easy to be sucked into the craze. Ultimately, everyone seeks validation in one way or another. And Instagram's way is not the healthiest, as it is a community that demands living a picture-perfect life. A life where you have to document everything for the internet, and when your expectations are unmet, you only feel worse. This is especially true because the external validation feels good, and it can be addictive. It's why some people keep going back to Instagram, like cocaine. The validation from social media can stimulate the brain and you end up seeking more of it. Also, the admiration for that makes you sad because you wouldn't consider your relationship to #couple goals to be unreal, and only there to make you feel how you feel now, sappy and disappointed that your relationship isn't perfect. Some other ways that Instagram can be detrimental are as follows. Number 5. Sad fishing. Why would celebrities and influencers go live and then start crying for clout? It's unnecessary and just perpetuates a toxic culture enabled by Instagram for a long time. Yes, it's okay to show emotions, but crying life in a manner that seems scripted is just wrong. Number 6. Cancel culture. It is necessary to call out people and hold them accountable, but not in the way cancel culture propagated by Instagram and other social media pages does it. Cancel culture on Instagram involves shaming the person in the wrong without giving that person the chance to see and acknowledge their mistake and become better. It's now become this trend where people and brands are canceled instead of being allowed to be better. Number 7. Glorification of overworking. As mentioned previously, nobody needs to work until they drop. But on Instagram, everyone has a hustle, and somehow no one's allowed to rest. In real life, we should be allowed to rest and have safe, creative outlets, even if they don't bring us in money. We've seen the quote about everyone needing at least 3 hobbies. One for creativity, the other for keeping fit, and one to make money. But we'd like to argue that it's 100% fine if your hobby is all about fun and nothing else. Also, doing nothing can be the life-changing thing you need to practice doing, not arts and crafts. Other toxic things propagated by Instagram include filming strangers, being intolerant of the opinions of others, physically harming pranks, public grieving, especially for victims of violent crimes, without minding the feeling of the victim's family, child influencers, let children be children, recording your selfless acts. Honestly, your intentions might be good, but stop parading your sacrifice for the world to see. especially if you're doing it for the clout. Finally, making OCD, anxiety, depression, and other chronic mental illnesses aesthetic. These are real big health problems, and not just adjectives. So you can't be a little ADHD or a little OCD. Ultimately, it's all an illusion, and Instagram, like any other advertising space, sells products that enhance their users' endless obsession with instant gratification, ideal happiness, and perfection. Ultimately, users live in a society where weakness, sadness, and vulnerability are frowned upon. The sad bit, Instagram's algorithm is designed to be toxic, which is why you see more of these things and less of the real life. And with stories like the Dubai porta potty trending on Instagram, these Instagram models living big don't really say how they earn a living doing abhorrent things. No one should trust what they see on Instagram. When on Instagram, take what you see with a grain of salt.